Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Esports Wales Season 5 League of Legends Championship. It is great to be here back again with the brilliant face that is Minicon, as we are just about to dive on to our first best of 3 of this Season 5. How are you doing, Minicon? It's been a little bit.
I'm doing very well. I was ready for you to say the brilliant face that is your face, and I would have been happy with that. But I'll happily take it as well. Equally brilliant face on the other side of my screen as well. John Britannia. We're back again. Number 5 this time, rightfully so. And I'm so excited. I really, really am. It's great to have the Pirates back on board, one of the original sailors of the Welsh Esports League. So really excited to have them back, and I think they'll be very fierce opponents. They could do incredibly well this time around. I think they're expecting to do well. I think they're coming in, hopefully, with some great confidence. But we've always seen battles up and down the ladder, up and down a skill. Every single game is going to be a great game, and as we can talk a little bit more about in a second, I'm sure, it is best of 3s. We've got 3 games, best of 3s. There's always chance for adaptation, maneuverability, and, being able to discover what is the weaknesses of your opponent team and how to adapt with that. So I'm excited to see how they come about into that. Both teams, the Pirates and the Wolfhounds today. But, I'm super excited to get into this. I can't wait.
Yes, me as well. Like, excited is definitely the word. I think every time we come around to one of these, this is our, I can't remember if we did Season 1 together, but we've definitely been on this one for, I think this is our 4th together. And excited is definitely kind of the word, right? Because the teams change every time. We now have some
So I go.
It's going to be different this time. We talk about the upsets each time, and I love how you use the word weakness, discovering what the enemy team's weakness is trying to find that vulnerability, because all of these teams are vulnerable, whether they're much higher up the rank curve or not. And I love seeing the teams that you kind of doubt and you point definitely not the favorites here, 70-30 or whatever, but make it look so much more 50-50. And that's what the Wolfhounds are looking to do in this series. Even if they lose this one, taking a game's definitely going to help. For people unaware, the schedule is going to be 3 best of 3s, and then it's going to be seeded by tie breaks in case we end up 1-1-1 or 2 teams at 2-1, right? So definitely looking keen to take any games that you can, because that's going to help you in those tiebreakers.
No, it really is. And I do like that as well. And, it's not just kind of game over if you lose one game and your head's down, you think, I'm not going to be able to come back for the next 2 games. Every single game matters, and I love that, particularly because, a series, of course, is most important, but those little nuances in each game, even if you're 2-0 down, you come back, whatever it may be, you can always redeem it and get a game in the back pocket, and if you lose it, always really important. But we're into draft, and we're already in. I'm so excited. It's the best of 3. We're going to be spearheading along into this amazing series. And I think it's fair to say, look at that, straight in a lock-in with Kai'Sa. Unsurprisingly, a lot of ADCs taken away there. And I think the pool is slimming. Kai'Sa's still a really strong pick right now. I like that. But it's, it does mean this, the pick here on the red side is not going to be an amazing choice here of ADC. Caitlyn really strong. Jinx, strong.
I think Jinx is definitely strong on the patch as well. In fact, I'm impressed it hadn't been touched. For me as well, I know Matando is definitely a Kai'Sa player, so I'm impressed that was taken away over the Kai'Sa. I assume it's to sort of protect the Jinx as their ideal carry in the lane, knowing that range disadvantage isn't going to be there, so you can ideally get both of those carries out the lane. I do, as you say, like the Kai'Sa as well as you, in a great spot in terms of build, perhaps the most flexible Kai'Sa builds have ever been. So excited to see how that's going to evolve, and of course that's then flexibility that you get in the draft, being able to pick maybe AD mids and flex those around as well. But excited to see here Pirates picking up their bot lane first, as definitely it's their stronger point on the map.
No, absolutely. And, coming to this game, there was a little bit of part of me, we still can't write it out, but with a lot of ADCs taken out there, one thing that I've been really enjoying in solo queue is Corki down bot lane.
Yeah,
that's a new thing that's come back into popularity. He's a man of, he's a man of culture, me. But, we might see that later on in the series. But as you rightfully said, the bot lane here picked up Kai'Sa, Nautilus. I love that. I really do appreciate the kind of, almost El Clasico. Great kind of disengage and engage.
Yep. Hard to point flaws at.
We got Lilia and Kayn picked up there, probably, vying into the jungle. Poppy potentially go into that jungle, but with a Kayn there, it's almost a guarantee that he'll be heading into the jungle. So really kind of clear, intentions here for the first side of draft. And now kind of eliminating those mid lane, top lane picks here with a Malphite taken away, a Silas as well. I feel like taking away the Malphite against a team that is quite AD heavy right now makes a lot of sense. Malphite, I feel like, is always a reliable pick. It's sometimes very hard to not do well on a Malphite. But yes, taken away there. And finally, the Tristana taken away. Very strong pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, I like the Tristana being taken away. Again, that leans towards that Kai'Sa being flexible, right? Because if you took Trist Kai'Sa, you'd then get the option on terms of your better matchup. Malphite, I assume as well, like you say, definitely denying the AD scaling, or the armor scaling rather. I'm impressed to see the two top bans against Pirates. For information as well, Pirates top lane had to be immediately summoned in. So I'm impressed to see that respect there for their top laner, not their normal player, who I imagine would just be sort of self-proficient, happy to sit on this island. Which is why I'm kind of surprised to see the Shen banned. I feel like that's normally the like, quick, you've been swanned in, slap him on Shen, how bad can it be? I'm kind of excited to see if the Wolfhounds here decide to attack this top lane and kind of let this Jinx scale. The rest of the draft kind of makes sense, right? Lulu taken away just to prevent that Jinx from hyper scaling. I was kind of maybe anticipating the Poppy being a flex for support, but I think that Tahm Kench kind of cements that is going to be played there for the Jinx. Poppy not going to do too much in a Kai'Sa Nautilus lane anyway, so that one feels wrapped up to me. So we now get counter pick here for the top lane. There's the Corki that you mentioned, the Menace as well. Likely going to be locked in mid here. So it's now Bam Bam, the Swandin member, getting his final pick on choice here for the Pirates roster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I absolutely have to go back to what you said, though. I feel like this, respect has been shown to the top lane. As you rightfully said, it is not the intended roster coming here on the top side. But even still, that respect is shown. Garen looked like it's going to be the final pick here in the draft, rounding out quite a nice team. Kennen maybe opting for more teamfight presence. No, it is. It is indeed Kennen. And a little bit of a fun fact, Kennen was the first ever champion that I mained. Always has a soft spot in my heart, but you can't underestimate the incredible prowess that a Kennen can have in your team fight. Can really turn things around, getting the stun marks up ever so quickly. I think with a lockdown there on top of the Nautilus as well, being able to land a lot of CC. It's a nice, well-rounded team, but Tahm Kench, brilliant pick there, of course. Things getting a bit tasty, can always chomp them up. And in particular, this Jinx, I'm sure, would want to be chomped up, and where possible, being able to deal damage, stay out of harm's way. Poppy as well, a champion that does that really well.
Yes.
Being able to knock whoever gets in the way. If it does get missed, of course, though, that can be a big team fight loss there, especially if someone maybe in that top side, maybe in the mid, is getting a bit carried away, like the Corki, for example.
Yeah.
Quite tricky to pin down as well with a W, being able to move around quite easily. But I like the clear signs here of forward planning, forward engage here with the Kennen, the Nautilus. But the clear disengage as well. I think, really, really well-rounded teams. Respect is shown on both sides. But I'm really excited to see this game panning out. As we say, there is a difference in skill. But we're not counting out any team just yet.
No.
Any little advantage is going to go a whole lot way. A whole big way here, heading into later down in the series. Very excited to head into this one, Brett.
Right, as well. And it's going to be our first look, right? It's been quite a few big patches, right, since we last played. A whole MSI in between then as well. So for us, it's going to be quite a different look. There's a lot of item changes that we're going to, at least as casters, it's my first time casting on these big item changes. So I'm quite excited for that. I think personally here, looking at this comp, you highlight it really well. It's that kind of back and forth disengage here. And I think the onus is going to be on Wolfhounds. It tends to be when you're the team fighting up the curve. But I love how they set up with this, right? As you mentioned, the Tahm Kench Poppy, great disengages. Kennen's going to have to play very much around the Keeper's Verdict there on Poppy. Tahm Kench with the Devour is going to be a super important cooldown. So I'd love to see how well Tahm Kench is going to play sat next to that Jinx. But of course, there's room for punish there, right? If you're sat on top of the Tahm Kench, you're going to get 2-for-1 value on your Nautilus ults, on your Lilia ultimates, Corki Poke as well. So a lot of it is going to be on how Wolfhounds are playing around these objectives, and that's very much how this team is going to have to play. They don't have the great picking potential. They don't have the great engage. They kind of have to wait for Pirates to come to them, send a couple of the members flying, deal with the rest, right? I was originally concerned looking at this Pirates comp. It's like, oh wow, you can like Corki package people together, slam a cannon out on top. That's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
Corki doesn't have package anymore, so they had to redial how this comp's working entirely.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of work that this Nautilus is going to have to do, right? Because Kennen can, yes, engage, send straight on in. But if the Poppy ult is there, it is entirely this Nautilus, right? They have no other real front line. And when you're looking at a Xerath Jinx who's going to be able to chip and poke as well as that Corki can, Kane on a flank, Nautilus is going to have to do an awful lot to protect that Corki and that Kai'Sa. I expect Kennen to be sort of winning the lane. I expect Corki to be kind of winning this lane.
Yeah.
And depending on the mastery the Xerath has, unsure whether it's just going to be a trade of first strikes. But for me, it is very much going to be about Wolfhounds not giving up too much in the lane, especially when fighting up the curve, and then making sure they execute on these team fights. The composition is there. They have the 2 carries to do it on Kane and Jinx. Xerath's going to be a healthy medium. But it is very much these 2 champions have to be doing well by about the 20-minute mark, or if not, they're on the cusp, right? They need that one good fight to set them up. Closing's a different story, but that is, for me, the Wolfhounds' objective. 20 minutes, be happy or ready to be happy.
That's it. No, absolutely. You're rightfully so. Absolutely. The team here and the Pirates can really kind of be sensible about this. They can be mindful in the fact that they've got a Lilia that might potentially be scaling quite well. The Corki got great scaling potential as well. They could be sensible about this. They could go, you know what, we're not going to go into game 1, guns blazing, use our engage to our advantage, especially the Kai'Sa there. You want to start getting the stacks up. You're getting your abilities upgraded as well. You want to be making sure that maybe that Kai'Sa has an opportunity to get to that 20-minute mark where they are fully upgraded. But on the flip side, they could just go, you know what? No way. We're coming in here. We're coming strong. We're coming confident. We're going to go straight into the Wolfhounds, which might have a really difficult time, especially early on. Xerath, really easy to pin down with no flash if there's a concentration there to be had. Lilia's ganks can be a little bit hit and miss pre-level 6, but if you manage to land an ability pre-sit at level 6, get the sleep on, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill there against the Xerath, potentially with or without flash. But I'm excited to see this one. I would expect the Pirates maybe to come in with a little bit of early aggression, especially if those lanes are looking like to be fighting at the skill level. I'm hoping to see that kind of early excitement, but you know what? It might not happen. It might not happen, in which case, even if they're brewing up on the side of the Pirates, the Wolfhounds then have the opportunity to think, to develop, and be able to come into these team fights tactically. Who are they eliminating? Is it the Corki that's incredibly fed? Are they going to concentrate on targeting him, getting him out, with a keeper's verdict, whatever it may be? Really excited to see how it all goes to pan out. But I think we're just about ready to head into our very first game of the Welsh Esports League number 5. What an amazing time right now we're in. And I'm super excited.
Excited. I love how excited is the word we keep using, because Jinx is a play as well. That it has its value there. This word's going to play out, I think, throughout this series for sure. As I imagine, Jinx is going to be one of those picks that's like, well, we've played with clear intent on this draft to play with this Jinx, so it's either going to get banned or picked again. I don't imagine Jinx kind of fading away in the draft, as, of course, it's a best of 3. This game's going to set the precedent for the series. Wolfhound's kind of on the back foot in terms of side select and in terms of rank, but like we say, they definitely have the ability and the objective, the tools, that's the word. I don't know how I can find that one. Tools, a very simple word, to show up, I think, in this game. One thing I do notice instantly is that it is the Poppy support in the lane, not the Tahm Kench, so it's going to be more explosive, I think, one way or the other. I think, personally, I would have preferred to have the Tahm Kench, and simply let this Jinx go down 20 CS, but still be like alive and comfortable in the lane. Not to say Poppy can't achieve that. There is good interaction with the Poppy into the Nautilus, being able to sort of bounce away from the hooks with the presence, but it can be tricky. And this bot lane from the Pirates is definitely the strongest point on the map, as I mentioned during the draft. So it's up to, I think, the Wolfhounds to just kind of stave this bot lane. And, if Jinx can get excited, great. But really, her first 20 minutes of the game should be quite boring.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I know, as you rightfully said, quite surprised to see the Poppy there head into the bot lane. As you say, there are mild opportunities to be had with the Nautilus hook here. Steadfast presence was up, but it didn't manage to stop the hook coming in. Level 2 there, look at that, the aggression straight away coming out. One more plasma charge, flash forward, and it is indeed enough. And there it is. First blood to the Pirates. They are going and opting for that aggressive star. It was one of the two, and they said, no, We want blood. We're pirates. We're coming. And we're going to be making our name here. The Pirates had an incredible start.
Yeah, just an excellent hook there from Nautilus, catching the Jinx out of position. Zoe not in a really good place to interrupt, especially both at level 1. Having access to the wave first means that they were level 2, so they were able to level up at the start of that exchange, and that's just enough there with the plasma stacking from Nautilus as well for Kai'Sa to flash forward, finish that one off, trade the flash there with Jinx, who hasn't got the cleanse, so again, opting in for the later game rather with that Ghost. So Pirates say, boring lane until 20, not for us with Pirates. Of course, it's going to be exciting taking that first blood, and of course on the Kai'Sa, not where you want it. So Wolfhound's already in a little bit of the gutter, but I'm sure they're going to have better later games as this one evolves. We might get some action here in the jungle. Lilia racing away here with this clear. Kayn might be in a bad spot should they find the Lilia a level up already, and is now behind this bot lane, who is low once again. Wave pushing out,
they
however.
are quite low here on the side of the Pirates. Do you get the level up?
There it is.
Flash forward. Steadfast person does get the knocker, but to no value. Chompers do go down, but again, to no value. Kayn managed to come down. Maybe salvage a little bit of damage, but nothing more than that. And as we say, Lilia, really, really well played there. Mindful that Kayn often starts the chicken, starts the raptors. Going to be coming slow into that blue buff, and great knowledge there from David. Taking the blue buff. Already had blue buff, but you know what? I'll take 2. Thank you very much.
There's a reason it rhymes with 2, because it's blue, as you say, straight into mid, using that movement speed from Scuttle. Flash is going to be enough to keep Pizza Lover safe there, but he is going to lose out on most of this wave, so it's going to have to TP in on this one.
Yeah, unfortunate to have to flash there. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the not committing there on the recall. Mana is low, not an awful thing for Xerath. The opportunity to auto it back maybe a little bit. But David feeling confident here again. The reset on the Raptors. Mindful of the timings of those.
Yeah, he knows he's got buffs up as well. And as we say, he's going to have a lot more damage being upper level. And Kayn, without that pre-evolution, is just going to be a free pickup there. Just a good read, right? He knows exactly what camps he's taken because he's taken the rest of them. I was about to talk about how if I'm this Kayn, I'm instantly going to start putting my chips into mid as we see an exchange here in top, because I don't expect a Tahm Kench to be able to run away with the game, especially when playing into a Kennen. So when bot lane's already behind, I'm looking at the Xerath as a tool that I can leverage using his ultimate at 6 to sort of swing the balance here in this bot lane, because if we look as the camera arrives here as well, that this wave state is just not a great place. The Jinx CS is behind and an oppression already built for Kai'Sa. The silver lining was that Lilia got the 2 kills in this bot lane, but it's still a silver lining and not like a whole cloud. So yeah, Wolfhound's here starting to run out of options already, as this early game from Pirates has just been phenomenal, really, right? You've killed the enemy jungler, you've stacked a wave in bot and prevented it. You got first blood for free as well, and then top lane isn't quite going your way. Flash burnt in mid too. Like we said, this composition has time, but Pirates don't seem to want to give it to them.
And there, look at that, the level difference here. Kayn at such a disadvantage from this aggressive and oppressive Lilia. 3 kills on the Lilia there. 44 to 24 CS. This Kayn is struggling to make any moves here in any lanes, unfortunately. And look at this, the Lilia pretty much in a safe position right now. Corki got the push in the mid lane, managed to rotate over. The ultimate comes up from Kennen, and look at that. He can get through the wall, but I don't think it'll be quite enough.
He's on the wrong side of the map as well.
On the wrong side of that turret. Corki making movements here towards the Kayn. Does get spotted out by the plant. The Gatling gun. And it's enough. Of course it is.
Thumbs up to know. Yeah, thumbs up to claim it as 2.
Corki. Level 6. Just in time to land the ultimate right on top of the face of a Kayn, who will be set even further behind. And it's looking difficult. Incredibly difficult right now. These lanes, you know, top lane not doing an awful time right now managing to leverage the CS. Stun does go wrong there. And damage managed to comes out here for the Corki. But yeah, despite the CS being quite similar here in the top lane, the push is constantly in favor of the Kennen ranged matchup. And it makes it incredibly hard then for any kind of movements there to be had with the Tahm should he want to do an Abyssal Dive gank anywhere. Incredibly difficult here. And just the Lilia running away with this game. And look at the CS difference there again in bot lane. This Jinx got no mana, having to zap the minions from far distance away, because if she gets too close, that happens. The hook comes out and she dies every single time. Level 6 to level 4. There's no way you're getting out of that one. And there it is. The flair of the mastery. Why not? Why not? You are doing incredibly well there in the bot lane. 4
Yeah,
kills.
that's a new thing for us as casters as well. It's the new mastery flares, new ways for our players to show off a bit on the map as well. And why not, as you say, just an excellent hook, catching them out of position. And as I say it, the same happens again. Kane here just looking to pick up that experience. Kai'Sa has the ultimate available. I don't know if she has the mana.
Oh, there it is.
And yeah, as we call it, but here's opportunity for Jinx.
Oh, the flash. But we're getting forward now. Kai'Sa incredibly low. Exhaust comes out to trade the Xerath. Can they land it? Just one more. It just goes far, but the Jinx managed to get through. Does get excited now. Level 6. Zap does go wrong.
Good sidestep.
They land to the... Oh, there it is. A super mega death rocket does come out in the end. I wonder if they wanted to keep a hold of that. But there it is. Flashes, exhausts, barriers used there on the side of the pirates. This is promising. Ooh. And the solar bowler on the Tahm Kench. Might have been a tower dive gone wrong there. But red buff here on the side of Tahm Kench. I'm sure you'll be happy with that extra bit of health regen. Extra bit of slow and damage as well. That will be nice indeed for the Tahm Kench, who already has an incredibly great kit for sustaining in the top lane.
So the gold lead shrunk about 2k there in about a minute. So if you're a Wolfhounds fan, you can now breathe out. And also, now that you got that shutdown on Lilia, breathe back in again and start like regulating. Because before then, it was a concern. We might have to hold our breath again as we've got some action here in the jungle. Kai'Bi in the wrong place. Get the blue, gets the level, but is not able to get out as well. Yeah,
not able to get out there. I mean, you understand what was going through the mind there. Going forward, you know, the Lilia is dead there in the top side. Go take a camp. Let them know how it feels after taking all their camps. But Lilia, again, really smart pathing here. Really, really smart. And the Dark Seal there, 2 stacks, a lot of items. A Haunting Guy is incredibly potent. It's just that independent item now as well in this new patch. So, really strong position for this Lilia, let alone the levels as well. And a lost chapter here for the Xerath, hopefully helping him to sustain a bit of mana in that mid lane. Having to use a lot of mana to poke away at that Corki. Doing ever so little damage though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will commend the solo laners here from Wolfhounds because so far they've been able to hold parity despite all the shenanigans going on, despite all the summons.
Comes forward here.
I have to hold that point.
Onto the popper, yeah.
So much damage, yeah. That's going to make this dragon so much harder to approach. And if you're the pirates, you kind of really want to be sure you're getting these dragons. As I mentioned, the Wolfhounds here, now that they got some of that gold back, he's definitely a lot more keen to scale. And I remember saying that 20-minute mark, we're halfway there. It's going to be the key point for the Wolfhounds. Stacking these dragons is going to be a great way to kind of mitigate any of that should you get to that point, and as well kind of help you scale throughout, right? Because the dragons are percentage, you're going to get that value as the game goes on. Chemdrake's a great one to pick up for that as well.
Not there. Does manage to get it actually there. Happy there, taking that there away from the Kayn, who's already having a hard time. Look at the CS difference there. 91 to 48. There is a ward there in Tribush.
Oh, great use of the Lilia fit, but it's not going to matter. Jinx already just too far behind. I mean, like you say, look at that CS in the jungle. It is exactly the same there in the bot lane and about to grow as well. Tower going the first way of this Kai'Sa as well. I don't know if production can quickly toggle us towards the goal just to see the physical number instead of trying to project what that number would be in terms of the difference. We can see the gold lead overall is now back to that 6k. I dread to think what it would be if it weren't for those 2 free shutdowns as well. So Pirates definitely in that comfortable position. Probably looking towards getting 6 grubs now as well. Kayn isn't really in any position to argue, even though the 2 side lanes are doing perfectly fine and even. But the Pirates are happy to keep that perfectly fine and even because the rest of the map's doing just so well. And as I mentioned, this bot lane being the stronger point, it's beginning to make you argue, should we be playing around a Jinx if we know this bot lane isn't going to be able to survive? That might be the adaptation I think we see towards game 2. But yeah, Here we are, looking towards these grubs to see what action comes of it. But here we are. We know this bot lane's unlocked. We can bring 4 members to these grubs, and that's all 6. I like to see that from the Pirates. That's proactive. That's playing it correct, proper, bringing all the pieces onto the right side of the map that you need. We'll see if that can transition into anything now that you have that 6 grubs stacking. These towers should melt, and we've melted through 1 already. It's going to be up to, I think, making sure that this Kai'Sa is being, checkmating each of these towers. There's no point for her to be in the spot lane anymore. We already see Corki recourse to let Kai'Sa have this super fast farming mid lane because the minions spawn faster here. She can accelerate here as well. got Nautilus here to make the picks. I'd love to see Lilia just kind of hovering around here. Not too long until the Rift Herald. They might have a couple minutes here for the Wolfhounds to kind of complete their first items because they are behind on that mark. Lilia, Leandries, Sunfire even. Not Sunfire. Not Aegis. Why does it look like an Aegis? I build it all the time. I'm a support player. I know what this is called.
On the
So
Nautilus?
I don't have to tell you. That's the one. Yeah, on the Nautilus.
The locket, is it?
Yeah, see, I was testing you. But here, the Keeper's Verdict had been used here by the Poppy, sending the Kaiser away. He gets marked out by the Rocket. But it's
Ultimate onto the Xerath.
No follow-up there. The tower to prevent that follow-up, but it is, as we say, the opportunity that the Pirates wanted to begin to tickle away at this tower.
Hook goes out, does go wrong though. Kayn getting maybe a bit too deep there. Does manage to land an ability there on the Kayn, should they want to vie into popping the ultimate. Ultimate being used by Xerath though, right at the arcane, letting them hopefully push a little bit of the wave, because the Void Grubs, as you can see, spawning. They do have 6 Void Grubs. This tower will not last long at all. The Pirates are mindful of that. Look at the positioning there from the Nautilus. Does get knocked back with Stunland down there from the Xerath. Chomp just out of range there to get him stomped up. Is it enough though? Ooh, it's a flash from the Poppy. Doesn't go over the wall, and it isn't enough there.
Oh,
and the
no.
plasma stacks are just enough there to take down the Jinx, and that is ever so unfortunate. It looked like a guaranteed kill there against the Nautilus, but as you say, Locket, the shield. A lot of means of just preventing death there with the shields. The ultimate forward there from Kaiser gets to the TP, not coming in time, unfortunately, though. And they really do need this Tom Kench.
Yeah, this is the worst case scenario. There's not a lot I don't think this poor Tom Kench can do without incidentally giving more, though. The Poppy say they might try for something. Blast Code's not going to work out. I think Lilia should just be able to speed away from this one. Flash committed, just to be sure. But yeah, Wolfhound's there. I loved that angle. That Poppy engaged there after the Xerath clears the wave. Great angle to punish this Nautilus. The trouble is that he's got that Locket, and he's just too much with the items that the team has in their back pocket. Weren't able to finish him off, then ended up over chasing. It looked like a great angle. Lilia and Corki too far out to collapse, but again, Kayn not built in any way that he can really step up and do too much. So it ends up being the Wolfhounds punished there. Tower then falls, and then just a great hook from Nautilus, able to catch up the Kayn, overstepping his mark once again, enabling the Kaiser to come in and clean up the Xerath, who was otherwise out as well. And that is, as I said, the worst case scenario, because Lily is then still on the map, able to clean up that Rift Herald, whilst Kayn just has to commit to farm. I don't believe he has his evolve yet. He now has his first item. 5 minutes left on this 20-minute timer here for the Wolfhounds, and it's not looking hot. They're going to need to find a fight, I think. Difficult. I can't even say it this dragon, right? Because Jinx isn't at her first item yet either. There's no way she's going to par with a 2-item Kaiser. So unless you pick this Kaiser and or Lilia with this Medjai's at this fight, you're just going to have to give the second dragon. And then at 20 minutes, like I said, be happy at 20 or be ready to be happy at 20. You're going to have to be so ready for that dragon at 20.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look how fast that Lilia already is. They're zooming over the dragon. I imagine they'll take this quite quickly. Ginsu's on the Kaiser. Look like a team fight starting to happen here. Kayn goes in. Gets into the ultimate inside of Kaiser, but gets knocked away with the Keeper's Verdict. Managed to pop out, thank God, though. I think that would have looked very, very bad there for Kayn indeed. Chompers does go
they're overstaying.
There, but they managed to commit there onto the Kayn. The W does land here onto the Nautilus.
Excellent.
And the Nautilus onto the Xerath as well. The ultimate forward there it is. Managed to lock down the Xerath. And look at this Jinx. Mega Death Rocket does go far. Wouldn't be enough anyway. The Poppy all alone there. Lilia getting an assist there as well, and there it is. 4 kills to none on the side of the Pirates. They could be eyeing up a mid lane push here because there's no objective to take. There is nothing on the map for them to take right now except for a push of that mid lane. I guess there's a compilation prize there, but it's a prize because, you know, they've already taken everything because they're that far ahead. So it's very, very difficult right now, and even the top lane could have been a bit of an angle to have there. The Tom Kench incredibly slow at pushing though, and the Corki incredibly fast at pushing. But thank God the objectives.
Yeah, so for me, I think...
Turret gone.
I respect Wolfhounds for having an attempt, but just so much went wrong in terms of their execution, right? As Keeper's Verdict knocking away the Kayn, they're splitting up your composition. They're then overstaying, thinking that the enemy's out of reach, that they can kind of set up in the sphere, but you know that the Pirates have vision. They're not slow by any means, completed boots and everything else. They're running straight back. They got the Drake to boot too. I think I would have loved to have seen Wolfhounds just like, yeah, we're not going to get this objective. We're not really going to slow them down either. We should just dive this cannon.
Kane falls asleep.
But yeah, things are just going to go more wrong here, as I think Kai Bing is just going to be written corky to the other side of this wall as well. The double set of ticking shield from Tom Kinch.
There is it enough. It is a shield. Ooh, and the ball misses there, unfortunately. But I don't know if this Kane will manage to survive there. Kai'Sa coming as well. Kennen and Nautilus as well, making a movement. Mega Death Rocket. If only it was on the other side there, they would have gone down. Ooh! Does actually not hit there, the Kane. Managed to get some health back going through the walls there. But as we can see here, ooh, Kennen looked like... Oh, amazing there. Okay, Corky there, taken down by the Xerath. But here, finally, the turret goes down. They've got the green card to go ahead and take down that Tahm Kench. But Kane having to recall here.
Oh, and they've still got the Rift Herald. Okay, this should be an inhibitor, God, I imagine. Yeah. I can't see the death timers, but it's going to be 20 or so on the Xerath. There's Jinx has got the Kraken Slayer. She's in the best position she's been all game. Kai Bing hasn't got much in his tank as well. Tahm Kench not available to keep him safe. No ultimate when he comes back as well. Poppy looking to zone, but it's not going to be enough because this inhibitor's already going to go. There's Kennen with a wave ready in mid 2. Could be 2 inhibitors here, but Xerath spawned with the Rite of Arcane.
This is hard to stop this push here. Yeah. 6 grubs.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm unsure whether they can just end right here, right? Because the health bars are getting to half. Like, you could just back, get this mid inhib, and be happy, reset, you know, spend all of this gold. You're up almost 20k, and that should be enough. I mean, we're still pre-20 minutes.
The hook comes out in the Kane. The Angel on the shoulder is saying recall, but they're saying, no, listen to the devil, we're going in. Keeper's verdict. Doesn't manage to do much there except get that Poppy in a position where the screen goes grey. Asleep there for the Xerath. A flash forward there on the Kennen, the ultimate coming through, and there it is. It's an ace. They listened to the devil on the shoulder. They didn't listen to the Angel. They didn't want to recall. They wanted to close it out pre-20 minutes. We didn't even get there, but I'm sure it's happiness on the Pirates and misery there on the Wolfhounds. And what a decisive first game for the first game here in the Welsh Esports League.
That was a warm-up, right? That 100% that was a warm-up. For which team? I'd probably say both. That looked great. Yeah, I mean, commendation to the Pirates, right? I said, this team wants to be ready at 20 minutes. Wolfhounds, we didn't get to see 20 minutes. It was just 19 and I think 28 there at the second, which is a record to beat. And to add to the point I made earlier about tiebreakers, taking a game's great because that's going to help you in the tiebreakers. Game speed is then the next tiebreaker. So whoever won the quickest, and the Pirates definitely setting pace there with 19 minutes. Good news for the Wolfhounds is that their comp was kind of good. I think I would change the King. I think it was just an unfortunate case that he wasn't able to chase and pace the Lilia, which is fair enough. That's Lilia. I just think you wanted something more akin to a Maokai, right? Something that can farm as fast, something that's going to split your damage a bit better, but also buy space for that Jinx, and kind of still be able to like gank, right? The trouble Kane had was that, cool, I'm behind, I can't camp, so I have to gank. Bot lane wasn't the place. He comes top, and then he just gets engaged on by the Kennen. Lydia's got enough time then to run there, and Kane's written out the game from that second death onwards. So for me, the Wolfhounds are going to have to reapproach this draft. They do get side select as well. I wouldn't hate if they chose blue, although I definitely feel like Pirates are more comfortable on red, simply because they're then going to get counter pick, which I don't think they used to the best of the position in this draft. I didn't hate the Jinx. I think I preferred it with the Tahm Kench or something similar. So yeah, if the Lulu makes it through, I can see maybe an Enchanter angle and playing that way instead. But yeah, I think we'll probably jump it to a break and we can have these questions answered the other side of that one.
We absolutely will. Hello and welcome back to the Welsh Esports League. We're here in the 5th season. We're already into our second game versus the Pirates and the Wolfhounds. And Britannia, you were talking there. You were mentioning how get to 20 minutes. It's either prepared to be happy. We didn't quite make it to 20 minutes. I'm hoping the Wolfhounds can get beyond 20 minutes. Or who even knows, flip the script, even beat them within under 20 minutes and take it right to them. But a really strong first game there from the Pirates. They looked so strong, didn't they?
Yeah, the Wolfhounds might have 4 legs, but they don't have sea legs. The Pirates definitely took them through a storm there on Season 5's Maiden Voyage. I think Wolfhounds definitely can flip the script. They now have flipped side selection as well, so it's definitely ball in their court, to overuse the phrase. It's just going to be about how they use their chips, right? Last time this draft was kind of... We've split it between 2 sort of carries and then the ability to peel for those carries. The trouble was that those carries got hooked and they got slept and they got blown up. And the peel either wasn't there or was off in a side lane. And those pieces never got the chance to come together. As I said, the 20-minute mark's going to be great. We never saw the 20-minute mark, so it was never great. So hopefully the Wolfhounds have had that sort of time to temper their steel and are going to have now time to get to 20 minutes and see what we can do about it. Beginning with the draft is the great place to start, right? Draven respect ban, Shen gone again. It's probably going to be all the same, I expect, for Pirates. There's not really a lot they fear, but instantly the Wolfhounds here targeting the problems. I think Corki, not on my radar for banning. Xerath went fine into that, and you were happy to pick Xerath anyway. But it is the Jinx gone instead. So for me, that's a clear adaptation for them being like, cool, Jinx is a problem, we want it anyway, but if we're going to lose this game, it's going to be on the back of a Jinx, so we've taken that around. Kled is not the first pick I expected, so we kind of got a lot of room here now for the Pirates to have an early top pick so they can leave a counter pick for somewhere later in the draft, but I expect them still to pick up their bot lane here before it gets kind of picked apart. Maybe their jungle before it gets picked away as well. Ashe flexible between AD and support. Kais has been taken away. That's the great ban here, as well as the Nautilus, although I feel like the Nautilus was fine, but if you struggle against hook champs in general, Nautilus would be the one to take away. So yeah, we are going to lock in this Ashe build here. A classic, being able to stack Ranger's Focus with concussive blows on Braum, the double Freyord. It's just a field of slow and irritation. Kled could struggle with this, but the ultimate charge is going to be a great way to access that backline. Braum's going to struggle dealing with that Kled for sure. But in terms of the lane, Ashe and Braum, really hard to attack.
It really, really is. And, I think we can, give credit where credit is due. On the top lane, managed to very much hold their own. Got a solo bolo against the Lilia. So maybe something with a bit more aggression. Obviously leaning into a much more damage-focused build. Might be able to unlock this Kled, and as you say, with the charge ultima, that leaves the opportunity there for the lane's push to charge into the mid lane potentially, charge to a fight that's happening with the grubs, whatever it may be. There is the opportunity for this Kled to make a bit of movement around the map. It was quite difficult for that to happen in the first game. We felt like the jungle was quite a heavy talking point. And we've got the Singed lock in here. Interesting to see this. I quite like this though. This is exciting. This is different. I didn't expect this.
Something tells me it's support.
Yeah, potentially going to support there.
Knowing Zoe, that's support, right? Because this was our new player of seasons past. Something tells me Singed fits that same boat. Yeah, lives in the back of my mind every time I go to bed.
And Gangplank locked in there, probably going against the top lane against the Kled. Safe picks here, and the lemons are always great to have in your back pocket playing Gangplank. Not a huge amount to be able to lemon out of, maybe the root there from Xayah, which can easily stack up the feathers. Silas taken out here, some potentially quite nice ultimates to be taken away there. So not opposed to that ban coming through there. But what I like potentially from the Wolfhounds right now is that they've banned out, as we say, Kai'Sa, Corki, and Nautilus. All 3 champions picked in the previous game. They're aware of just how oppressive they were on those champions. Lilia is still open though. A very strong, very, very strong champion. David, great experience on Lilia. And I think really showed that experience of jungle, but also pathing and everything that comes alongside playing a champion like Lilia.
Yeah,
so
it's
nothing
just
kind
that
of
sort of
concentrated just yet in jungle.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say about that later. It's that sort of presence of mind, right? When they first invaded into the Cane, knowing that the clear speed was faster, and then fighting him on chickens, knowing he's a level up, was just that cool. It's the kind of mastery you don't get to see in terms of mechanical expression. That's kind of unique to jungle, and that was sort of one of the holes that was torn open for that first game. So yeah, jungle I expect to see being the key point here, but sadly wasn't the focus of the bans. They seem to be protecting their mid. Unsure of what's going to come out now instead, because there's actually been a fair few mid bans. Silas, Zareth gone, as well as now Corky potentially from the mid too. So gonna be the Hecarim. Similar in terms of Lilia, in terms of quadrupod, but definitely a different sort of style to Lilia. Lilia's kind of pick then engage. I'm gonna stop talking about Hecarim because I so much more love this Fiddlesticks. Trist is well rounded out as well. Okay, cool. So I'll hold to talk about this composition because it's
interesting.
Colourful, I think is the way I describe it, but it's definitely healthier than the last course. So the last pick here going to be this Nico. We'll let the pieces fall into place as well. So personally, I love this Kled adaptation already and the Fiddlesticks. This top side feels so much more attuned to the issues that we pointed out and the vulnerabilities, to keep a theme in our casting. The vulnerabilities of the Wolfhounds comp was top lane was your winning lane, but it was Tahm Kench, right? That's can be a menace, but it's never going to be more than that. Kayn was supposed to be a carry and assassin, but he did not get to play jungle, let alone League of Legends. Fiddlesticks is going to be able to create pockets, he's going to be able to engage, and Kled is a united go button. The Wolfhounds lacked this last game. They have Xayah, who has the ability to protect herself, so she doesn't need that enchanter support, she doesn't need that sort of physical body. She'll love it when it gets to fighting front to back, which this team comp can certainly do. Trist is a backup ADC to sort of blow and pick this one apart. And Singed is just a haymaker, which makes sense for me. Happy to have that happen. Perfectly fine. So, looking now at the Pirates composition, begin to get a little bit concerned, right? Because Ashe and Gangplank from 6 are going to be able to just help that Hecarim completely blow up the map, right? And Nico's going to be able to find opportunities. I expect to be able to find opportunities for a flank, right? And it's kind of going to be who can land the biggest pair of circles. Gangplank, Nico, and like Fiddlesticks, Kled, Singed, whatever. There's just going to be team fights, right?
Yeah.
The concern for me is that Wolfhounds, can they hit the 20-minute mark? This is their question. This is their time to beat that. If they do, again, they're going to be fairly comfortable. Trist and Xayah are going to be great from that point in the game onwards. I'm not sure how Hecarim kind of fares in there at the moment, whether he's like farm heavy, gank heavy. I expect he's like a perfect breed of both at the moment, in a similar breed to Lilia. He's just got a more reliable form of engage. So as long I think as long as this pirate composition can control vision and space, which I expect them to be able to do with Braum and Gangplank, to be able to, sort of prevent that Fiddlesticks from engaging as well. I mean, Ashe Arrow to Hawkshot rather to cover the flank from Fiddlesticks, that vision control, right? There's a nod there of like, yes, that is going to be a problem, and it's like Fiddlesticks into Ashe is tricky. So yeah, for me, it is very much Wolfhounds kind of have to overperform again, but at least now their composition is much more capable of that. You're not waiting for 25 minutes for the Jinx to suddenly get one kill and unfold, right? We're now looking at, well, Fiddlesticks can actually gank, Kled can play the game, and we have two options in Xayah and Tristana that aren't going to be stuck inside the jungle waiting for camps to spawn. So the Wolfhounds here are in the best position. I think they're going to be to flip this one on its head, to flip the script. And I think I actually really like what they've done here in the draft. It's just a case of the Pirates, even if the draft is closer, are definitely Titans for them to topple.
No, it absolutely does. No, I think you're absolutely right, Brett. They needed a bit of excitement. I feel like these champions fit the playstyle that we saw in game one a lot better to the Wolfhounds. That is great, because there was signs of life. That 2k gold that just flipped on its head. They got the shutdowns. There is signs of life there to be had, and I feel like in particular, this Kled pick is great. The Tahm Kench really managed to hold his own in that top lane, but now this has the opportunity to kind of at least impact the game for the wider team a little bit more. The TPs are unfortunately coming in a bit too late. The kills were just coming out so quickly on that T2 tower, for example. around about 18, 17 minutes into the previous game. But yeah, on the flip side here, I think an unspoken success from the Pirates in the previous game was the ability for their vision control. Having such a strong jungle, that is Lilia, means they can quickly get from one place to the next, get into the tri-bushes on the bot side, be able to gank from behind, for example. The vision was just so well placed here and so well deleted from the opposite side against the Wolfhounds that with a Hawk short and with the reliance of a Fiddlesticks kind of relying on being in areas of darkness and, fog of war, it's going to be hard here to get those opportunities where they can get a really great ultimate coming out from Fiddlesticks, because having a Fiddlesticks, that's the entirety of that champ. The fears are great, don't get me wrong, but that ultimate is so important. And if there is just areas that is just always lit up against a really well-versed, knowledgeable team on the Pirates, it's going to be hard to get into those spots of darkness.
Absolutely, right. And I think that's going to be the thing to watch really for this early game, is how are the Pirates going to sort of approach this Fiddlesticks, right? Because I expect it to be par with Hecarim in terms of clear speed, but if the first game is a trend, the pattern's going to evolve that Ashe is going to Hawk shot and then Hecarim's going to invade or use that information to find Fiddlesticks, have health on a camp, and sort of attack that, right? You've got Ghost to chase, so if Fiddlesticks is going to have to flash, that means Hecarim can then have just that half of the jungle, and that trend is going to be the pattern then for this game, where the King can farm, the Fiddlesticks can't quite farm because can't face check a Hecarim. I'd love to see here Wolfhounds kind of play around this jungle a lot more, and it's going to be the thing to watch here. Is a bit of spice here from the mid, just giving a little bit of extra, and it's Kled support. I mean, we tried to predict it. I don't think there's any point in trying to predict Zoe anymore.
She's always got an insane champion pool. We love it. We love it indeed.
Has not got support item. I don't imagine that's intentional.
I feel like this happened before with Zoe. Am I dreaming?
Possibly. It happened 2 seasons ago, right? Because they had revoked the support item, and it was a case that you can start the Duran's item, sell it, come back with the support item because you used it to get first blood. Right? Yeah. That was the strat. I don't think that's the case anymore, because they fixed that hole. The League of Legends slapped a plaster on it. So for me now, this Kled definitely has to have its value, because he's not going to scale in terms of usefulness because of the gold deficit it's going to be behind this Brawl. So this Kled's definitely going to have to be worth its weight in gold. It has got TP and Exhaust, which is a cook that I extraordinarily love. Kled's not something that you actually really need to flash with. You're not the champion going for kills, or if you are in a great position anyway, and fine, they flashed, I haven't got flash, they didn't need to flash, their sort of thing. I'm just going to, bear trap on a rope and exhaust them and just be happy, TP back, be menace, show up top lane, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think for now it's going to be Fiddlesticks wants to farm, race to 6 as much as possible, but be safe doing it. I think Trista's a great champion to pair with that, because she can rocket jump and kind of make a 1v2 and 2v1 quite quickly. I think Nico here might just be the biggest question mark to see how it performs in terms of this lane. It's a backup engage. I feel like every single champion on this Pirates roster has the ability to land a massive ultimate in the team fight, and here it is. Here's that Hawk shot we wanted to keep track of. Straight onto Fiddlesticks. We know we're at parity between Fiddlesticks and the Hecarim in terms of farm. In fact, there we are. And then it should be a Scuttle Crab each as well. So I think this next minute or so, depending on what the junglers do, might be the first big swing in terms of how this game's going to go. And it looks like, why wait a minute when you can do it in 10 seconds? As David here lining up, Ghost used as well.
Ooh, the flash there coming out nicely.
Rightly timed there on the Xayah. Any sort of later in your flash kind of gets shoved in weird backwards position. And with Ashe and Braum, if that goes wrong, that really goes wrong. Ghost is not going to help you get away from Ashe slows too much. Braum concussive blows will then stack on that as well, plus the frostbite. So great flash there from the Xayah, but it is, again, opportunity for this bot lane that we saw single-handedly blow up a game. Lilia was definitely a part of that, but didn't need to be a part of that.
It is, and here it is. Look at that. First blood, how did that come out of there? Unbelievable there from the Nico. In a lane that we thought was going to be relatively quite safe and quite static, but there it is. First blood. Nico just being mindful of that ward, the Pirates and their warding and their vision game. They've known every gank that's come so far, and that just allowed the Nico to just be mindful that this Fiddlesticks isn't going to be coming back in towards that top side. And boy, did that Fiddlesticks wish he had come top side, because there it is, a solo bolo in the top lane against that Singed, who inherently is going to have a hard time anyway against this Gangplank, getting lots of free gold with the first strike, and the Q's coming out. It's going to be very, very difficult. I would like to see the Singed there vying to going for a proxy, try and get some CS and disrupt the average top lane experience. And I think if you do happen to die and the Hecarim coming to you, I don't think that's a bad thing on Singed. I think if you're alleviating that pressure from the Hecarim to the top side, maybe something can happen bot side. If it's a dragon take, if it's a kill on bot side. But I feel like going straight into this lane, front to front against a Gangplank, is difficult. You're going to lose. You're going to lose health. But
and it's going to
see
be
what adaptations come through.
Harder now as well, because if you look on the top side, Singed is right back at Gangplank's tower. Gangplank left this wave exactly where he wanted it to be. That is no accident. And you see that gold difference as well as 20, and that's going to grow with the wave state that it is. So yeah, here's Singed opting here to proxy. Could only afford boots on top of his item on that back, because again, 12 CS does not go very far in today's economy. Mid failed to use summoners, and that might be needed here. Absolutely, it was.
There, rocket jump out.
Well, flash plus the rocket jump, able to get away from the go. So good respect from Kaibing this time, who failed to use them last time to get a kill. Concerned they had to take the null mantle, because that's not going to help you win a lane. It's going to help you lose less, which is not ideal for Trist. But as we say, if this team is going to win, it's not going to win early, simply because of the sort of skill gap between the two teams. So I don't hate the approach. I just don't think it's correct. Take that as it is. But yeah, I think
that lane there in a good position to take this. I'll take all 3 grubs there. One is taken. It's great having the Fiddlesticks being able to suckle 3 at the same time. But look at that, mid pressure completely flipped on his head now. Hecarim's stopped his back. He's feeling bold. He's feeling confident. Does he want to let all 3 grubs grow? Potentially. That does go forward here. Root down here onto the Fiddlesticks in bad position. Does still have flash.
Singed needs to move.
There it is. The flash does come out though.
So yeah, I like this from Fiddlesticks. Getting there early onto the grubs. It's a good look. Gets 2 of them. So that's a great start for the Wolfhounds. That's more objectives than they got last game. The trouble is that Singed is not in a place to really do too much about it. I think considering that they did get 2 grubs and they got out with flashes, that was fine. I do love how Zoe was up there as well. But the trouble is, again, this Kled's going to be very short on gold. A lot of this gold deficit is actually going to be between this Kled and, you're going to want to execute flashes to try and do it. But no, the W there from Hecarim, I think just in range to get 1 or 2 ticks off, or the smite gets that kill. So yeah, we're in trouble now, right? 2 solo kills have happened. Oh, here comes a dive as well.
TP does come through. I don't think, again, it's just not in time. Unfortunately, Zoe there was cooking with the TP, as we said, but does manage to get the pushback there. Exhaust does come through. 1 more hit to get the stun. Does come off. Bye-bye, Skull. And there it is.
I'd just love to point out how well played that was from this bot lane from Pirates.
Absolutely.
I'm sure everyone saw it, but the use of the Hawk shot, just to make sure there was no Fiddlesticks, this wasn't a bait. As soon as that comes down, it's like, yep, this is a clear to go. And speaking of clears to go,
Fiddlesticks, ultimate comes through. Does get the flash. Doesn't manage to quite get around his fade. Does come. Barriers there. Tristana is here. Maybe to get that little bit of extra damage. Doesn't get the assist, unfortunately. Despite the rocket jump on top of Ash's head there. But we will take that. Oh, and we will also take this here in the top side. Wolfhounds. Lemon getting a kill into the 1v1 against the Gangplank. You'd love to see it. Hopefully alleviates a bit of a CS difference. Managed to take a few damage hits onto this tower. Hecarim taking blue buff. Mid got the pressure there to take a few chips against a pre-14 plates in the mid lane. But most importantly, Wolfhounds taking objectives in this game. A complete flip on the script from last game. 0 objectives taken. Already 3 hard here to the 1 grub taken by the Pirates. It is promising.
Yep.
The Fiddlesticks definitely more valuable in this game as opposed to that Kane.
Yeah, and I think if you take this gold lead and you kind of shift 1k back the other way because support item, it looks quite healthy, right, for the Wolfhounds. Grub's going to help you clear. Tristan's Eye are great for dealing with towers. Singed could be able to use that to great effectiveness. You're able to get both sums on Ashe and the kill on her onto the jungle, who would otherwise be behind from this Hecarim, is close to parity. So for now, the Wolfhounds are in a pretty good position, right? You just need to make sure that your carries are catching back up in farm, which is where most of the gold you have is leaking. So Drag is going to do a good bit to help you get there, but it looks like Hecarim has different ideas.
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land on the Kled. Ooh, the Skull kind of does buffer a bit of CC interaction there. Ultimate comes down from Braum, though. And there it is, chipping away, but no Enchanted Crystal Arrow to just ensure that lockdown. It's one kill there to the Pirate. They'll take that indeed. And this Xayah is having an incredibly hard time. Unfortunately, the Kled's not been there very often, alleviating help in the mid lane.
Yeah, she had her ult unavailable last time because she was short of mana, which is why the bot lane went for that dive beforehand. She's able to use her ult this time, and then the exact right time, but that does mean that she's without her ultimate here for this dive.
One
and that's
more.
Going to be, or should have been, the last couple autos.
Just not enough.
Is able to get away from the tower, making it incredibly close.
Oh, it's heartbreaking there from Matando.
To farm, but here's Fiddlesticks face checking. Not ideal.
That is heartbreaking for Pirates, but just to brush away their Wolfhounds will be happy with that indeed. The Xayah, surprisingly, only one death, but
I mean, 60 CS is the cost of that, right?
It's a big difference. It really is just spot on. And, you know, I think we can see that here in the item. The Kraken Slayer picked up for Ashe. Great to have there, that extra damage. But unfortunately, lack of boots. No full item there for Xayah. Incredibly difficult here for any future engagers. Flash is on CD. Does have Ghost. Charge coming here through. Does just unfortunately go wide.
It was the movement. We're just getting onto the right side for the grubs. It's fair enough. If you get the catch, you get it. I think you can land that, and you should be able to land that. But speaking of landing,
through onto 2. He does manage to get the charge forward to you onto the Fiddlesticks. Flip back by the Singe. Oh, but the unfortunate, the lack of coordination there. The ultimate comes through for Fiddle Kids. Fiddlesticks.
Oh no!
That is. Oh, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land though. Oh, we'd love to see that. Barrels going down. Rocket jump coming through. Hecarim going forward. And again, this interaction with the Skull just dodging out on a few bits of CC. And the Singe is flying. But unfortunately, not taken off with any kills there. But 1, 2. No, just the one grub taken down. It's all going Pete-Tong here for the Wolfhounds. Unfortunately, the full collapse here. It has just not going the way here of the Wolfhounds. The Pirates said, nope, we're not having this. You're taking all our objectives. We're not used to this. We're taking them back, thank you very much. And there it is. They get 3-3 on the grubs here. Really promising. And there it is. No Void grubs to be spawned here on the towers. That does help just a little bit. But that extra true damage is always nice to have on the tower. So in this Ashe, in a position where often she's alone bot lane, that tower might not last a whole lot.
Yeah.
And speaking of towers not lasting long, Gangplank is in that top side, hitting away at it.
Yeah, that play just kept evolving, right? As one of those where both teams were ready for the grubs, and it's like, who just had more cards in their pocket, right? It's like, how our support is here earlier, we've used the charge, the Nico gets away, the Nico lands the 2-man ult, but we are able to get out, and then Fiddlesticks able to use the ult, but I used the Ashe arrow, and we're able to, like, get out of dodge for that one and split up. Hecarim's able to survive, and then, cool, we think we're right, Tristana's arrived, and then the Ashe arrow also arrives, and it just kept tiptoeing back one and forward. Fiddlesticks were kind of focused on the grubs, and I respect that. He was 74 health short. I think if he was able to land that scythe or wait a little longer on that smite, they would be at 4 grubs, so a slight little bit in the choke in the pressure not going their way, but 3-3 is fine. It's definitely a lot better than it was last game. Xayah was able to farm kind of in the meantime, knowing that there was no Ashe arrow to be afraid of, and just kind of absorb. But as we say, right, those 3 grubs are going to do a lot of work for Ashe, and the Pirates being able to start
down here,
break these towers, which are going to be the first folding point here for the game. And speaking of folding,
charge on the Hecarim, Kled coming through. Don't have to get there in time though. Does manage to get a few bit of health back, but the ultimate does come out. Pop Blossom forward, the Hextech Protobell does manage to get to the route down here. Oh my god, it's all going on right now. Exhaust comes through onto the Braum. It's somehow flipped on his head. The Wolfhounds here on the aggression. Kled loses Skull, does manage to die there, unfortunately. Great bit of kiting there from the Nico and the Braum. And there it is. But really promising there for the Wolfhounds. They managed to take down the jungler just in trade of a support. They'll be happy with that indeed. As we talked about a bit earlier. There it is. Gangplank taking that top tower. Lemon maybe pushing forward there. Got the Leandri's Torment, always good to have the extra bit of burn damage. Speaking of burn damage, it's going to be coming into play right now.
Yeah, Gangplank hasn't got ult. He used it in the last exchange, remember? So Lemons here might be looking to make the most of that. Is staring fairly part to part now with the Gangplank, but he is gold up from that kill from those plates as well.
Here, no Ghost does a flash. There it is, used to get over the wall to safety.
Yeah.
Oh, and there it is. Matando taken down. Kled once again. Ever so unfortunate there. And as you say, I think that lack of gold from the support item is really coming to bite Zoe in the backside now, unfortunately. You know, still here, 2 long swords.
Yeah.
Steel caps. It's just not a whole lot right now at 15 minutes.
Yeah, not getting that support item as well that evolves from I don't even know what it's called, the spell page thing, that the support item. They keep changing it, so I never bother to know what it's actually called. It's just the support item, right? But there's a lot of value in that support item. Like Brahms here, the Celestial Subverge, is so key for being able to just affront a lot of the damage because it gives you 2.5 seconds of resistance, plus then like the Randuin's effect slow afterwards. Not having that value, I feel like on a Kled, who would love that so much, kind of almost a third health bar, right? When you've got Skarl, Kled, and then a 2.5 second resistance, and then an AoE slow for your Bear Trap, is sorely missed out on. But I feel like has been at the right places at the right time up until that point where you're in your jungle, but you know the enemy have just been here. They just won that fight.
And here we are overextending without that vision. So just a dragon take here, though, I'd imagine, after this one again. Kled falling down, top lane tower does go. Great trade there, but ooh, maybe they're going for more. The Braum does land the ultimate. Feathers do indeed fly there with Xayah. Roots do come down onto 2, but the dragon, the Hextech dragon, goes the side of the pirates. They're becoming increasingly dominant, taking these objectives. And it's becoming increasingly difficult for the Wolfhound to make any real dent into these team fights, unfortunately now. Full items on every player here on the Pirates, but not on the side of the Wolfhounds. That bot lane really at a deficit now.
I think I would love to have seen Xayah and Trist fight that last fight a little harder. I think Nico was out spells, and you have Tristana there that had double sums. I think that's potentially winnable, and you might not have been in this position without, but here we are in a bit of trouble.
Backwards though, but there's a Hecarim to stop that. Flash, ultimate comes through, the barrier, everything's coming through, and I might just be enough to survive. He doesn't decide to jump forward, overconfident, overzealous. But this Ashe here in the mid lane, taken away at that tower, doesn't quite get it, but what does get taken is the life there, that Gangplank. Does manage to take Lemon with him.
Good cross map there from Wolfhounds. Knowing that everyone's on the bottom side, they're able now to attack this Gangplank and get that shut down. Singed was also able to get a bounty, as you mentioned, during that last exchange for the tower on top side. So Wolfhounds are able to find little bits of gold and defend their lives and prevent some of the leaking that's there as well. It's not to say that the gold lead isn't growing, because of course the Pirates are picking up dragons, picking up objectives with a couple of kills here and there, but Wolfhounds haven't sort of died with it. They are able to find gold here and there. And I mean, the deaths that they have had are mostly onto Zoe, right? Who at 0-6 isn't worth the same amount of gold and they were when they were 0-0, right? So I think the Wolfhounds aren't in a great position in the game. Easy to say that one, 4-17, obviously. However, they are in a fairly good position to come back, right? This time they do have items, they just need to get that one complete on Xayah, and I think they're beginning to get good to Rumble. The only person that's doubled up on items here is this Ashe, and that's a Phantom Dancer. It's not really adding damage, it's just adding flexibility for damage, right? So
Crystal Arrow comes through the stack there to CC, and there goes the Fiddle Kids. Stun does come through, they concussive blows, and it slows on top of Ashe. Bye indeed. And there it is. The 4-man overload here into the mid lane, but look behind them. There's a Singe. Does get the grounding onto 3. But they don't care. There's Singe behind us. Unless they come forward, he's not doing a whole lot, but they can easily predict his movement there. Root comes through onto Singed. He goes down, and they go for more. The flash forward, the Pop Blossom does manage to get to just outside of its range, and it's just enough there. Incredible. And
see, I thought Singed was being really smart there and doing what Singed does best and proxy the wave, right? Because without that wave, that's a full health tower and inhibitor. These 3 members aren't going to be able to do it. They then end up chasing the Singe, and then that's time for the other members to farm other lanes, respawn, etc., and that's fine. Steps far too close to their own tower, as though they thought the red health bars were minions, not champions. Gets hard punished for that, and then, as well, the Fiddlesticks before then being on vision in the middle of the wave. Just having to be there to help clear just means that Ashe can ult and pick, and the Braum there follows up with the Glacial Chasm, and that's the end of that Fiddlestick story, right? I think Wolfhounds need to really be much more considerate about their vision. I think Fiddlesticks, if I'm playing him right now, is just kind of buying control wards and sitting in a bush, right? Waiting for the camp to spawn, walk to the camp, like farm it as fast as possible, hide back in vision. It's going to be tricky. I mean, we highlighted it already with the Ashe arrows. Staying hidden is going to be real tricky throughout the entire game. But that is your best shot, I think, at turning one of these team fights. And when they're at your towers and such, that's your best timing. When you're inside the base, it gets so much harder to land those game-changing ultimates. And I feel like if you're now approaching from behind these objectives, you don't get the leisure of setting up that vision. I think that was your best point as a Fiddlesticks to try and make something happen. Sadly, it wasn't that way. Ashe is just going to, mitigate a lot of that, and I know that's hard anyway. So it's kind of beating a dead drum here. But Kai been caught.
The barrel going to land on top of the Tristana. It doesn't get the kill, though, but there it is, Zoe. Unfortunately coming through.
Melts.
Not being able to do a whole lot there, though. And the Rift Herald, every time, I'm surprised they've still got it, but of course they do. This is the Pirates after all. Oh, it does manage to prevent the barrels from going off twice, but the charge coming through here. Ashe taking down Zyra as well. Braum and Ashe into the mid lane, taking it forwards. Oh, ultimate does come through, not bad there at all. Clears the wave a little bit as well, lands the flea. Doesn't quite do enough. It does prevent the push there in the bot lane. Oh, but Zoe's already back already. In she goes. And Gust of Blows gets stunned up. Skull's gone. Lemon is getting slowed, and it's just not quite enough against the 7-1 with almost 200 CS Ashe. Incredibly strong indeed. And speaking of strong, Proto Belt and Rabadons. That item is not easy and not cheap to get. There's a lot of damage there to be had from the Nico. Got to be incredibly careful.
Yeah, I like that from the Nico. Personally, there's not really an item that does a lot of what she wants in this position, but because you've got the luxury of going a cheap first item that kind of closes the gap, Rabadons is just going to do all of the rest of the work that your first cheap item kind of misses out on, right? So, to me, Nico, you're 7-0, that makes sense. It was like that or a Medjai's, and you can still go the Medjai's, why not? But I don't know if the game's going to really last that long. We've got one tower left standing that counts here for the side of the Wolfhounds. It's just kind of a case where Hecarim can be where he wants. You got the TP on Zoe, but it's not going to get you anywhere that's helpful at the moment, because with Gangplank and the cross maps from Ashe and the bullet rain from Gangplank, right, it's not ever going to be as easy as, it's just a straight 2v2. There are always going to be outside factors here with the Pirates just playing so finely tuned together. They have the option here for the Baron. I feel like it's almost wrong to do so, because you're giving Xayah an opportunity to farm some inhibitor minions, get some of that gold. That might make the fight a little bit more difficult, but again, right, you've got an inhibitor minion then powered up by Baron. It's safe to do it. You haven't really got the setup here. I do like now how the Fiddlesticks is being set up. This is kind of the approach that I want. So Wolfhounds here like doing a last gasp for farm. They haven't got long left, but they have at least beaten their last record and are holding out. But
they most certainly are. They just about beat it there, but I don't know how much longer that clock will keep ticking. It's a lot. It's 4 Fiddlesticks on the mini-map right at that point there. Which one's the right one? I think they might have found the fleet. Does go through Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Does land on Fiddlesticks. Ultimate from Gangplank comes out as well to slow down there, Xayah. Castle Blow stunned up there, knocked up as well from the Braum. You're not going anywhere. The Pop Blossom forward. Ooh, but does manage to get dodged out there from the Xayah ultimate. Oh, but it's not quite enough. The Ashe has so much damage. Kled goes in, tries to deal a little bit there. But again, this Ashe is just unsurmountable. Unbelievably strong right now. Taking towers like it's nothing. And I'm sure going to be taking this Nexus like it's nothing as well. Can they get the one more kill there? They just about can't, but 31 kills to 5. Incredible there from the Pirates.
Massively done, right? I think there was few moments here for the Pirates where you can say that wasn't the right thing to do. If it was just a case of confidence, right? I think the only point I could go, like, maybe you shouldn't have done that, is that follow-up dive on bot lane in game 1 with the Kai'Sa charging forward. But I think throughout, and I think with the timers being able to slap on that as well, right? Just definitely, Pirates, we knew they were favored to win. They did win. I think kind of just have to look at how they won as to be like the key factor. And I think Pirates with their draft, having those glow balls, being able to have a jungler that's able to be in almost all 3 lanes at the same time. It feels like one of those teams where it's like, cool, they have a really strong bot side. They're going to play around bot side, right? It makes sense. They have a Gangplank to go and help out there as well. But it felt like every single member on that team was given agency and assistance from the jungle.
Yeah.
It almost made me feel like, I don't know if you've seen Haiku, the anime about volleyball, but they go super well, in depth, and you have the setter, right, who's able to then like pass the ball, and so you can kind of keep the game playing at your pace, right? You get to set the tempo if you're able to pass the ball to this person who's then like your weaver point. And Hecarim, Lilia, in both of those games was very much that. Using that movement speed, seemed very talented in sort of gauging where the enemy jungle is going to be, what their moves are, sort of anticipating what the next objective should be, sort of priority list, where the enemy jungle is thinking of going, and then sort of spreading out that thought tree of where they're going to be, right? Able to invade on that fiddlesticks, interrupt him at Grugs once or twice, able to get into the bot side a time or two, wrapping around, using those ghosts at the right timers as well to hit the max move speed, because of course it charges up. So yeah, I think big commendations to pretty much every member there of the Pirates being set up for success. I think if I were to call the most important member, or not the most, an MVP for the Pirates, I think it would be Jungle, secretly doing a lot of the work. I think a lot of shout out needs to go to support there as well. I think a flawless game on the Braum there, and a pretty close to flawless game on the Nautilus, if not actually flawless. I think between those two members, which is not really a surprise when you have a support jungle that works so well together, able to make picks, playing around the vision correctly, it can be hard to tackle, especially when you're playing up the curve there. So yeah.
It really, really can. And that's it, like you say, they were playing up the curve. It was always a challenge from day one coming into this series. You know, each of those players are incredibly stacked and incredibly well versed in their own rights. You know, even saying that there, I really loved the adaptation from the Wolfhounds. That game could have easily had gone down even quicker. You know, the adaptations were positive. The top lane move was correct, I felt like. And, you know, that bot lane was ever so unfortunate there, but I did like to see, you know, what we thought was going to be Fiddlesticks, but was actually Cloud. I enjoyed the changes. So I think there's a lot of great takeaways to be had there for the side of the Wolfhounds. It's just ever so unfortunate that each member of the Pirates are just so incredibly great at each of their roles. And as we said, David in the jungle on the Lily that first game was just so brilliantly, silently making incredible positioning placements, timing placements in the jungle, knowing when things are going to respawn. Just incredible. Potentially hampered a little bit more in that second game there, with the Fiddlesticks just being actually a bit of a better pick into that somewhere. Someone who can, you know, be a bit disruptive and cause a little bit of confusion with the Visages, for example. I really enjoyed it. It was great adaptation from the Wolfhounds, but overall, really dominant gameplay from the Pirates. They'll be really excited for what I believe will be not next week, but the week after, when they'll play the next game. They're going to be looking confident. Whether that kind of momentum might slow down by then, and maybe that's an adaptation there for the Pit Ponies, we'll see next week. But I'm just so excited there. Incredible, incredible game. I'm so happy to be back into the thick of it with the 5th Esports League.
And I feel like it wouldn't be the same without Wolfhounds, right? I feel like every time we come round to a new season of WELL, it is like the Wolfhounds that make us both like, this team's just really fun, right? With like the Nunus of past, and this time like Singed and Kled and such. I think for me, the Wolfhounds are one of those teams that just have so much grit, because they keep coming back, and their performances not always are the best, which is fair enough, but they still keep coming back, and they still, as a team, keep showing up, right? They might not be as well rehearsed, they might not be as individually talented, but I think that definitely one of those teams that is much more of a team, because that effort's there, and clearly they enjoy it. And I think that's why we both kind of enjoy it so much, is that, okay, they, you know, made some adaptations and they grew, and we get to see that each time, right? Whether it's from draft to draft, from game to game, from season to season. And I'm excited to see them next week, right? Because we'll get to see them play another best of 3 in a week's time. So for me, Wolfhound's definitely a standout from each season. They're definitely the ones that I like remember most vividly. So I'm excited to see what cook there is going to be this time that I remember them so vividly when we talk fondly about season 5 in season 6.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If anything, if nothing else, the incredible picks. I mean, even this game, I was like, I'm not entirely sure who's going to go where they're going to play this game, but we tried to crack it, but we couldn't crack the cracked insane genius that is the Wolfhounds. And I think that at the very least just makes it incredibly exciting for you at home to watch, but also us to talk over as well and make sense of the fun chaos that is happening in front of us. But it's not over. It really isn't. It might seem like at the moment that it's quite a hard, big mountain to cross, but it is absolutely surmountable. We do have the second game there for the Wolfhounds. The Pirates looking at first place, very, very, taking it all home.
Yeah.
Very, maybe potentially as well. But the Wolfhounds, it's not all over just yet. The Pit Ponies might indeed be fierce foes that could get knocked down. We'll have to wait and see next week. But incredible there. Really, really incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And what an amazing start. I'm not sure about you, Brett, but I just love those fast-paced games because very often we can get into a bit of a slow, especially in the first game. I feel like we described it a bit earlier, we could come in guns blazing and kind of use that composition, which was, really well teed up to do that. Or we could take it really slow and kind of become that mindful 20-minute, then we react, then we go for it. We've got great engage the Nautilus. But no, they went in guns blazing. That makes it incredibly fun. I'm obsessed with it, their energy, their fire. I'm sure they'll continue as well. They want to make a statement in this series.
Yeah, and I think they did that exactly super well. And I think that's a great point that we can then transition on as we bring in our interview with Matando, the ADC from Pirates. Perhaps we can then ask Matando about what their sort of game plan was. Maybe did they expect the game to go that quickly? Matando, can you give us a little wave, a little hello, to let us know you're tickety-boony working? Hello. Welcome to the stream. So I guess that is going to be our first question leading in from that. The game seemed to have gone well. Did that go as well as you expected?
Yeah, we expected it to go well, to be honest, and it did. We did a bit of practice before, and everybody's good on the team. And as you said, there wasn't much of a competition really tonight.
No, I think that's fair to say. With a sub 20-minute win, there's never really much left in the air to be said when you have a performance like that. How are you feeling overall then? Of course, you've got another series, and for you, 2 weeks' time. You said you did some practice for this one. Are you intending to practice a lot more for the next one? Are you quite confident that you're going to take the series against Pit Ponies?
We'll do a bit of practice, but we'll wait and see how they do against the Wolfhounds next week. We'll see how they compare to them first, and then maybe think about it. But yeah, we are confident, of course.
Amazing. And Matando, and then coming into that second game then, was there a little bit of a part of you that wanted to go even quicker? Do you think that was even possible, though?
No, I don't think we could have done it quicker. I tried, no. I will say that they did give us a bit of a scare in the second game. I was worried for maybe a minute when they killed me, but when Fiddle got my sons and killed me, but yeah.
And how did you think about their composition then coming into that second game? Me and Brett were scratching our heads going, maybe that's a Fiddlesticks top, maybe that's a bot lane support, but they cooked something. What do you think they cooked well? Or?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think no. Back to chef's
wouldn't
school,
have a taste of that soup.
Yeah, no, I don't know if the Kled buying Adorance was a mistake or what, but they did tell us in the pre-game lobby that they're picking Kled support, so I respect them for sticking to their word because I didn't think they were going to do that.
If nothing else, like you said, they're an exciting team to watch if nothing else. But no, you've got to be feeling confident and eyeing up that first place coming into the Pit Ponies. Do you feel like it'd be more of a challenge? You're openly optimistic, but are you feeling quite confident coming here to get the full first place?
Well, I haven't seen them in action yet, so we'll wait and see how they do against Wolfhounds next week. But I am excited to be in with a chance of winning my first Welsh Esports League. I've taken part in every single one, and I think I've come second once and third the rest of the times, maybe something like that. So I'm looking forward to being on the winning side for once.
Amazing. No, I think you've got a good chance of doing that indeed. Well, Matando, from me, it was a joy to watch you, and an amazing games there to get us kicked off for the Welsh Esports League. Brett, anything to say?
No, just glad to have voices on here. They're excited as we are, players excited as we are to finally scratch much closer to that title. Of course, for people at home that want to see that happen, it's going to be there in a fortnight's time. And for fans, of course, of the Wolfhounds next week for your bestest series with them. Otherwise, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me. Thank you so much, Matando, the production team, and Brett as well. What a pleasure to be back. Until next week, take care, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the cast. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.